Walking through Chicago's O'Hare Airport, something felt strange. I've been here dozens of times, but I've never seen it so empty. No lines. No crowds. Only silence echoing in the empty terminals. This isn't a sci-fi dystopia, it's America in 2025. What if the United States is no longer the world's top tourist destination? One by one, the major airlines vanish from American skies, no announcements, no farewells. They just disappear. And the last name on the list? You won't believe it. It's not just flights that are disappearing, it's trust, reputation, and connection. Number 1, the collapse of Play Airlines. Not long ago, Play Airlines made international travel feel like a weekend getaway. With $99 tickets from Reykjavik to Boston, the dream of exploring the United States was more alive than ever for thousands of young Europeans. A few hours of flying and landing in New York, Miami, or Washington, it seemed easy, exciting, and accessible. But that dream was abruptly cut short at the beginning of 2025. Without prior notice or explanation, Play Airlines suddenly canceled all its flights to the United States. No headlines. No official statement. It simply vanished quietly from the booking systems. Travelers searching for tickets were met with blank pages, and Iceland's vibrant connection to American cities seemed to dissolve overnight. The domino effect was immediate and drastic. Tourism from Northern Europe to the United States dropped a staggering 60% in less than a year. For a country that once welcomed Scandinavian visitors with open arms, this was not just a commercial loss, but a sign that something deeper was wrong. The reasons go beyond the lack of cheap flights. Travelers began to mention the slow and frustrating visa procedures. Others pointed to the growing fear for their personal safety, the extremely high medical costs in case of emergency, and the general feeling that the United States no longer welcomed them as it once did. According to an Icelandic tour guide, he used to bring hundreds of people to New York every month. Now I recommend they go to Tokyo or Vancouver. Number 2, Singapore Airlines leaves without saying a word. Singapore Airlines was once the gold standard of air travel, elegant, efficient, and always reliable. It didn't need flashy sales or viral marketing. Its name alone symbolized class and comfort. For decades, it connected Asia and America with style, carrying business leaders, students, and tourists across the Pacific. But in 2025, something strange happened. One of the world's most respected airlines simply vanished from American skies. No headlines. No farewell tour. No explanations. One day, the routes were there. The next, they weren't. Los Angeles International Airport, once a bustling hub for Asian arrivals, now stands silent. The terminals that once echoed with the sound of boarding calls are eerily quiet. For many, the silence is louder than any announcement. Why, out of all the airlines, did Singapore Airlines leave the United States? Experts point to a growing list of frustrations: exorbitant landing fees, endless visa delays, and a degraded airport experience that leaves travelers exhausted even before they reach their destination. The United States used to be the crown jewel of long-haul travel. Now, it's seen as a logistical headache. Asian tourists, once drawn to California's coasts and the glamour of big cities, now choose cleaner, faster, and more welcoming alternatives. Canada, Tokyo, Sydney. Places where the experience is smoother, friendlier, and more rewarding. When an airline that once defined excellence quietly pulls out of the United States, a serious question arises: is the problem with the world, or with the destination itself? Number 3, Canada cuts ties. Air Canada and WestJet are pulling out. When even your closest neighbor starts backing away, you know something's wrong. In 2025, both Air Canada and WestJet, the two largest airlines in the country, made a quiet but decisive move. Together, they cut more than 40% of their flights to the United States. And we're not talking about minor routes. We're talking about the big ones: New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and Orlando, which used to be favorite destinations for Canadian families and tourists heading abroad. What's driving this sudden change? It's not financial instability or lack of interest. It's frustration. Canadian travelers are fed up with what they get for their money. Hotel rates in major U.S. cities have become ridiculous: $50 a night just for parking in some places, plus hidden service fees and unpredictable taxes. Add to that the growing concerns about safety, the visible homelessness near tourist areas, and an overall chaotic experience, and it's no wonder travelers are rethinking their vacation plans. A Canadian traveler summed it up perfectly: why would I pay more to feel stressed, unsafe, and unwelcome? For the same price, I can relax by a lake in Quebec, no sirens, no problems, just peace. And that's exactly what's happening. Canadians are turning toward the interior or the north. Destinations like Vancouver, Banff, and the Maritimes are booming, as people stay closer to home or choose international cities that seem safer, more organized, and easier to get around. When Canadians, known for being calm, friendly, and familiar with American culture, start turning away from the United States, it's more than just a change in travel plans. It's a warning sign. And the message became even stronger when Japan quietly followed suit. Number 4, ANA's quiet withdrawal from San Francisco. San Francisco International Airport was once a vibrant gateway between Asia and the United States, bustling with students, business travelers, and families arriving from Tokyo and beyond. But in 2025, something changed. All Nippon Airways, Japan's national airline and a symbol of reliability, quietly began to scale back its flights. Flights disappeared from the schedule. No headlines. No official statements. Just canceled bookings, empty gates, and confused passengers left behind. The withdrawal wasn't drastic, but it was devastating. ANA didn't pull out by choice, but because the United States made it too difficult for them to stay. Airport infrastructure is aging rapidly. There aren't enough baggage handlers. Security check delays stretch on for hours. Even basic services like check-in and refueling have become chaotic. The smooth and courteous experience ANA is known for became impossible to deliver on American soil. One story in particular struck a chord. A 68-year-old grandfather in Texas booked 3 ANA flights to Frankfurt to meet his newborn granddaughter. Each time, the flight was canceled at the last minute. He had spent months preparing the perfect gift, only to be forced to stay grounded again and again. "I just want to see her once," he said. "But now, I don't know if I ever will." For many older passengers, there is no plan B. There's no easy way to rebook, nor the free time to try again. And when airlines like ANA start pulling out, it's not just about routes, it's about trust. The U.S. airport system isn't just falling behind in technology, but also in humanity. Number 5, Air France's departure from Washington, D.C. The capital of the United States should be one of the most welcoming places in the world. But in 2025, it became the epicenter of a silent exodus. Air France, one of Europe's most prestigious airlines, cut nearly half, 46%, of its flights to the United States, with Washington, D.C. being the hardest hit city. Once a symbol of diplomacy and connection, the city's airports are now seeing fewer and fewer arrivals from France. This wasn't just a route adjustment. It was a shift in perception. French travelers began to talk about their experiences, long and invasive customs checks, cold interactions with border agents, and the feeling of being treated more like suspects than guests. A wave of viral videos showed travelers being interrogated at U.S. airports despite having valid visas. The emotional tone was clear: we no longer feel welcome. And the numbers back it up. In 2025, the visa rejection rate for French tourists rose by 31%. Business travelers, students, and luxury tourists who used to flock to the United States are now turning their attention to Asia or Europe, where travel is faster, smoother, and more respectful. According to a senior operations executive at Air France, passengers want to go where they feel valued, not questioned at every step. When an airline is established and diplomatic as Air France starts to pull back from the U.S. capital, it's not about the cost of fuel. It's about emotion, pride, and dignity. Number 6. Lufthansa's strategic pivot toward Asia. For decades, Lufthansa's routes from Frankfurt to the United States were more than just flights. They were lifelines of trade, diplomacy, and trust between Germany and the United States. These routes connected industries, families, and futures. But in 2025, they quietly disappeared. Frankfurt to Chicago. Gone. Frankfurt to Atlanta and Miami. They vanished from booking systems without a trace. It wasn't a technical glitch or a temporary pause. It was a clear message. Lufthansa, the flagship airline of Europe's economic powerhouse, is no longer betting on the United States. Instead, it's doubling down on Asia, investing in routes to Tokyo, Seoul, and Delhi. This shift is deliberate, strategic, and deeply symbolic. What's behind this drastic change? The reasons are piling up. Currency fluctuations have made operations in the United States unpredictable. Airport and security fees have skyrocketed. And behind the impeccable terminals, there is growing concern about social unrest and instability in American cities. For airlines like Lufthansa, known for their precision and reliability, unpredictability is a decisive factor. But this decision goes beyond a simple cost-benefit analysis. It reflects a troubling reality. Longtime allies are choosing economic pragmatism over historical loyalty. For German business travelers, students, and tourists, the United States no longer feels like a safe bet, but rather a risky one. When even Germany starts to turn its back, it's not a protest. It's a quiet recalibration, a shift in trust. Number 7. Australia and Jetstar disappear from American skies. The Sydney LAX flight was once more than just a route. It was a bridge between continents, a lifeline for students, tourists, and business travelers. But in 2025, that connection was quietly severed. Jetstar, Australia's beloved low-cost airline, has almost completely wiped the United States off its flight map. No headlines. No farewell tour. It simply vanished. There was no fuss, no dramatic press conference. That's not the Australian way. Instead, travelers, especially older ones, just stopped booking. Complaints about long lines, rude immigration officers, and lack of support in U.S. airports were pretty much ignored. Older passengers reported having trouble understanding fast-talking staff, feeling disoriented, and getting little help during emergencies. For a nation known for its friendliness and patience, it was a breaking point. Australians have always been seen as the perfect tourists, respectful, generous, easygoing, and eager to return. But even they have their limits. And when they don't feel welcome, they don't complain out loud, they just leave quietly. In 2025, the number of Australian visitors to the United States dropped by 44% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Instead of the United States, they're heading to New Zealand, Canada, and South Korea, countries that offer easy visa access, attentive customer service, and a sense of safety. For the United States, the loss of Australian tourism isn't just a drop in the numbers. It's the loss of one of its most loyal, low-risk, and high-value tourism partners. When a friend like Australia leaves without saying a word, it's not anger, it's disappointment. Number 8, Emirates abandons its American dream. There was a time when flying with Emirates to the United States felt like stepping into a modern fairy tale. Cabins with golden accents, gourmet dining at 30,000 feet, and service fit for royalty. It wasn't just about traveling, it was about prestige. But in 2025, the dream quietly came to an end. Emirates Airlines, once a proud symbol of Middle Eastern luxury, cut nearly 50% of its flights to the United States. Key routes from Dubai to New York, Boston, and Orlando were either cancelled or rescheduled to inconvenient off-peak times. No dramatic statements. No controversy. Just silence. But behind that silence lies frustration and pain. For high-spending passengers from the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, the United States no longer feels like a destination worth visiting. Many report being singled out of immigration, interrogated for long periods, or subjected to invasive security checks, all simply for having a Middle Eastern passport. A VIP traveler from Abu Dhabi paid over $15,000 for a first-class ticket to attend a conference in New York. Upon arrival, he was detained for 30 minutes at JFK Airport. "That was the last time I set foot in the United States," he said. "Not because I can't afford to go, but because I no longer feel respected." Instead, these elite travelers choose places like Switzerland, Japan, and Singapore, destinations where their time, money, and dignity are valued. When Emirates, a brand synonymous with excellence, begins to quietly distance itself, it's not just about flights. It's about identity, respect, and reputation. Number 9. The shocking cuts by Korean Air. Every summer, Incheon Airport used to be filled with Korean families traveling to California, dreaming of Disneyland, Hollywood, and the American experience. But in 2025, something changed. Korean Air, one of Asia's most respected airlines, quietly cut its routes to the United States by more than 50%. Flights that once symbolized adventure and aspirations were cancelled, rescheduled to inconvenient times, or rerouted altogether. Behind this drastic move, there was more than just logistics, it was emotional. Korean families, known for carefully planning their trips and placing great importance on safety and respect, began to feel uncomfortable at U.S. borders. Stories emerged of travelers being pulled aside, interrogated without explanation, and treated with suspicion despite having valid visas. For many, the message was clear: you are not welcome here. A family from Busan shared a heartbreaking story. They had saved for months to take their son to Los Angeles for a dream vacation. But just a few hours after landing, airport officials detained them and subjected them to a thorough search of their luggage. "My son was scared and confused," said the mother. "I just wanted to give him good memories. Instead, we left feeling out of place." Meanwhile, Canada is stepping up, offering smoother entry with expanded electronic visas, Korean language support, and a more welcoming atmosphere. In 2025 alone, travel by Koreans to the United States dropped by 58%, while travel to Canada increased by 64%. For a culture where traveling is about connecting and feeling comfortable, the decision to leave the United States is not made lightly. But when dignity is compromised, not even the most loyal visitors stay. Number 10, when the British dream fades away. For decades, the London-New York route was more than just a flight. It was a symbol of ambition, of opportunity, of the so-called special relationship between two global giants. But in 2025, that connection began to unravel. British Airways, the United Kingdom's flagship airline, quietly cut nearly half of its flights to the United States. Even the once crowded London-New York corridor, which used to operate up to 15 times a day, now runs at less than half its capacity, mainly during off-peak hours, and with a noticeably reduced offering of premium flights. What happened? According to countless passengers, it's not about the ticket price, it's about the experience. Business-class travelers, people who pay thousands for comfort, are voicing their frustration. Exhausting customs procedures, endless lines, baggage inspections that feel more like interrogations, and an overall cold, rigid, and unwelcoming atmosphere. An executive from Manchester summed it up bluntly: "I used to fly to the United States to raise capital and close deals. Now I meet with partners in Toronto or Zurich. Same results, but with more respect and far fewer complications." And it's not just business travelers. Young Britons, once captivated by the allure of Harvard or Silicon Valley, are now looking for other options. In 2024 alone, student visa applications to the United States from the United Kingdom dropped by 28%, while interest in Canada, Germany, and Singapore rose by more than 40%. It's a quiet but powerful shift, a withdrawal not out of anger, but out of disappointment. When even your closest ally starts to drift away, the problem isn't the distance, it's how they're treated when they arrive. What you've just seen isn't just a list of flights, but a silent alarm in a constantly changing world. If you felt this change too, share your story in the comments, we read them all. Don't miss our latest video, it connects the dots even further. And if you appreciate the effort behind these in-depth analyses, hit the subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means everything to us.